All right, and we're live. Welcome to another YouTube Live here. We're going to do another crypto market analysis. We're actually going to start off with BTC because I was just looking around within the charts and I saw something interesting and I saw something that could play out potentially. Like we said before, we do want to ensure that we are holding above the $9,400 zone, ideally the 95, but this is something that has happened in the past and we're looking to potentially see something happen in the future, maybe something similar to this. So let's look at what we're looking at. This is the bars pattern. So this is going to record basically what the bar shows, and then you can then use that to overlay it on other potential price actions. So then you know, or you're looking for something that may look like something that's happened in the past, sort of like this. So we can see that the overlay is actually pretty darn close to the actual price action, especially if you do that right there. Like, that's a pretty close match. So personally, I'm going to be very patient. I'm going to try to potentially see a descending zone here, or we're going to look at other pairs within the cryptocurrency market that has a descending zone here that we can use as a potential edge in the market. So then we have a squeeze that would be really good. But this is something that what I was looking for, but then I saw this pattern over here and I was like, wow, this looks very similar, because we got the double top at the exact same zone. We broke down very aggressively. Same thing in February the 9th. We saw a double top basically, and then we broke down extremely aggressively, and then we consolidated for a little bit. We dipped down a little bit more, and then we had a massive move to the upside, and then we continued on, breaking the recent high. So could be something similar. We do have a nice zone of support here around the $9,500 zone, same as the same level of support we had here around the 96 back in this smaller time frame chart there. So we got a nice level of support both ways. We're looking at this, and it's just a possibility. We don't exactly know, but using this potential, we will look for potential opportunities in the market. Now, the thing is, we want to ensure that the price is actually going to try to break up. So then we're going to be looking at BTC in conjunction with whatever alt we are trading. This means that we're not really going to be looking at alts to enter until BTC shows us that there is some strength. For example, right now we see in the example here, we saw a low and then a high and then a higher low and then a higher high and then a higher low. That for me is some indication that there's bulls within the market. We can see right now it's just making lower highs and lower lows, kind of like we were seeing here. So we're at the lowest part, so we could be kind of like at the lows here. So once we start to see a little bit more of the climb, we'll be looking a little bit more interested in the alts. But just this little illustration does give you a good idea of what I think could potentially be seen in the markets, especially because we see such a strong bullish candle right there, and we do see that there's wick to the downside, indicating that there is buy pressure within the market. So I am still looking at the market in a little bit more bullish sense. We do have a kind of unconfirmed trend line where we have a anchor point right here, and we have one touch right there, and then we potentially have a second touch right there, but ideally we'd like to have 3 touches of a trend line in order to make it a potentially dependable zone, and then 4 trend lines makes it a dependable zone. So not really a dependable zone yet for the 4-hour chart of the BTC on this ascending trend line, but it's something that I just plotted in, and potentially we could see something hold here, like we did see on the 1-hour chart projection that we did illustrate with the move up. But for now, we're just going to see what the market does, and then look for different alts within the market that could potentially provide an opportunity with that new bias that we have. Obviously, we need to see a confirmation from the BTC market first before actually diving right in. So Link is a possibility. I did look at all these before, so I'm just going to kind of cherry pick the ones that provide a potential. So Link on the 15-minute does actually look like a pretty good potential. We see some higher lows here. We could probably connect this all the way to here, like so. And then we have a nice, a nice zone that we're working with. Oh, is that not working? There we go. I don't know if it's my keyboard, but I definitely am having a hard time clicking a mouse here. There we go. Oh my god. Sorry, this is a little bit later. Okay, that works. All right. I think I might need to get a new mouse, honestly. Okay, so we have basically a squeeze on Link, and with our bias we have from BTC, we have the descending resistance and the ascending support. So what we're looking for is the price to potentially break the ascending support, right? Like what we're looking for is BTC to potentially have that same move we saw. Actually, I might leave that in there. So what I'm going to do is leave that in there, and then basically look to see something similar to this. And then what I will try to do is kind of not put it right beside it, kind of like so. So if you look at it, it looks pretty dang similar, right? So in my view, I think I'm going to just stick with what we have here. Maybe move this a little bit over so we got a little bit more room to play with. Actually, maybe not too much. I like to see it right there. So looks pretty similar. I think that's what we could potentially see occur. So I'm going to look for longs, but look very, very cautiously until we get the higher low, higher high confirmation from the 1 hour chart. So that's the overall outlook we have right now. I'll just kind of zoom in on the 1 hour chart. So then for Link, if that comes into fruition, the trade plan would look something like this, where we have a long position set out somewhere. We don't exactly know, obviously, but we're looking also for a confluence zone of the previous level of resistance or support, maybe somewhere along here. We don't exactly know. Maybe we'll find a nice level of resistance. We do see one kind of along that range, which is going to be right around here. So we do have a nice little range around there. So we could see the price come somewhere along here. We don't exactly know. And then we'd move our stop loss to the recent low, and then we'd have our first take profit probably at these highs here, like so, with a risk reward of, let's say, 2.25, and then you're looking at the next level of take profit here with a risk reward of around 4.8. I don't know if it is going to break that zone. We'll probably do a 25.25 and see how it goes, or 25.50 and then leave the 25 to see how it goes. For now, that's a good potential here. I'm going to basically put the stop loss below the previous low. The risk reward looks pretty solid. The overall trend looks pretty solid on the 4 hour chart. This is only if we get a potential move from BTC to an upside that we'd be looking for an opportunity to long, but Link does provide, in my opinion, a good opportunity that we could have for a long. This zone of resistance got respected 4 times, making it a dependable zone that we can use to risk off of. So overall, I think it's a pretty good setup. I think I'm just going to refine this a little bit to see the different ways that we could draw this. I think that's the way I'm going to draw it right there. And then I'm going to put a projection zone just above this area, like so. And then make that red. So we got a nice squeeze within the chart, and we're just going to basically wait until BTC moves or Link starts to squeeze in towards the apex and then potentially breaks the descending zone. So BNB not so much. Link is definitely up there for a potential. I'm going to be looking at it pretty closely. Mainly going to look at it from the 15-minute on when I'm actually executing. But to just scope it out, I'll just stick on the 1 hour chart. And then BNB is at a nice level of demand, but we don't really see any descending zone that looks like it could break anytime soon. So the closest one we've already drawn in, which is this guy right here. So if we break that zone, then we have a good possibility. And then when we break the second zone, especially our horizontal resistance at around $24, then we'll really be looking pretty good for a potential shift in trend, and then we'll have our next key resistance at $26. So we might have to have a risk reward of 2 to 1 or just under to get that risk reward above or at 2, and then to also have a stop loss there that's giving enough room for the price to breathe. So that's BNB. Oh yeah, this one was Ethereum, and that didn't load. And Ethereum was just making a nice double top. We know that there's a key level structure resistance there, and there's a nice structural support. So if we break this zone, we could be looking for a nice potential retest before our next move down. So this is a good opportunity for a short. We got Link as a good opportunity for a long if BTC does move down. Ethereum is great. Link is good as well for a move up. So we got options within the market. BNB is not so much. XRP is at a nice support, but we don't really see some lower highs to kind of connect here. We could theoretically, like I do see a potential. There's only 2 confirmations for that zone, so I'm not really loving it. So I'm going to leave this one and see if the market's able to give anything else. We do have a nice little zone on the 15-minute chart right around here. If we connect the zones there, not ideal, but definitely I'm gonna put a projection, a pretty large projection. But I'll leave this here. It's a potential opportunity. We got a lot of waves, and then we got a little bit of rejection, but didn't go above the previous high. And then we've been holding a support there, so let's just bring this a little bit higher up. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good spot for it, and then we'll leave that second level of support there. So support again, we're actually getting squeezed in, and this is a nice level of demand that we'll be working with, so we'll make it green to show a demand area, and then we have our red zone that we'll put a projection on to represent the level of sellers within the market. Oops. And then we'll have a pretty good squeeze here on our hands. So that's the zone right there. We'll make it like so, and it's not looking bad. We have been making lower lows and lower highs, so we need to see a structural shift where we're making a higher high and potentially we're going to enter on a higher low. I do see a nice little mid-range zone within the setup right around here, so that could be an area if the price does break aggressively above. We'll have a pullback around this zone, so we could enter after enough validations of a nice new level of a support. So I'll leave this zone right around here. We know that this is a key level of demand. What I think I will do is just draw that in as well. So this is going to be a pretty key level of demand. Now, if we go below this, we're definitely going to be looking to maybe not short, but look at Ethereum because it's a great opportunity for a double top here. We do have a minor level right around here, so that could be a nice level of resistance. Let's just do 2 zones here. I don't want to do too many, but we do have to understand where our key levels are within the chart when we are trading it. So I'll just do 2 zones, both support and resistance, just because they are pretty significant areas within the chart, like so. And then let's look back on the daily to see the next major zone here. So we got a nice double top. BTC is just consolidating. I think I'm just going to even take that off and then start off just using our horizontal zones. And then I'll make that white. All right, so we got our major horizontal zone. This is going to be our support area. I think I'm going to make it a little bit wider. So around there, so that's our first major level of support that we could hit. Definitely, I see the second one as this zone right over here, around 193 to 190-ish, 189. And then we got another major one right around here. And then we got the last one around there. So, I guess we could put another one there. I'm just going to leave it where it is right now. I'm going to move this down a little bit more. Actually, what I'm going to do is move this kind of to the center of there. So we have that zone, and then we have the next zone, which is right around there. Moving to the 4 hour, basically we got the exact same thing what we got before, but instead we got some horizontal lines. So what we're looking for we already talked about Ethereum. We're looking for a push and then a pullback, completion at exhaustion, move down. And XRP looks pretty good too. I think I'm going to leave this on the hour chart as well, like so. And I'm also probably going to put it on another monitor because these Ethereum, Link, and XRP are probably going to be the ones that I'm going to be looking at most. BNB not so much. EOS, let's just look. Didn't really love the look of EOS before, but got a little mid-range zone that could act as a nice little support. But yeah, not really loving the situation here on EOS for a potential opportunity. We do have a nice zone here that looks like it could get respected another time, but we got a lot of ways before that's going to get respected, so we'll see. On the 15-minute chart, yeah, we do have a descending zone, but I kind of like the other patterns right now. We've got a nice little support there. Yeah, so it's kind of similar to the different patterns that we already are looking at, but at this point in time, I'm not really going to be looking at EOS. TRX is not really on my radar as well. Kind of broke that little level of support. I don't really see any descending zones that are connecting, kind of like we see on XRP. That's pretty clear on the hour chart, or at least Link on the hour chart. We can see that's a little bit more clear. BNB, there's not really. EOS, there's not really. On the 1 hour, you could kind of draw that in, but it's a little less ideal in my opinion. And then TRX is definitely, you could theoretically, definitely, but let's actually put it in and then see how it looks with the overall rest of the chart, because you can't say you can't draw it, because there's definitely one right here. And then we'll put a nice little projection like so. So that's a pretty good situation for TRX. Let's look back at the 1 hour chart and kind of draw in our major zone of support. These are fine. The white lines are fine because they're pretty well structured within the price action. And then this, I'm going to make a little zone there, and then I'm making a little zone up here as well. And then we got our major structural zone that we'll be working with within the current price action, which is going to be around this area right around here. Unfortunately, we're not really hitting, we could lower it a little bit, but I'm going to keep it at the candle bodies on the 1 hour. And then we do have another one just above there, which we'll probably identify a little bit later. So we are closed below the zone, which isn't ideal. On the 4 hour is not, but we're not really looking at the 4 hour. We're even looking at the potential 15 minutes. So it is a zone of confluence for the sellers at this point in time, right around here. What if we do break it? We could potentially see a nice shift in trend, at least for the short term. So we got a little push of volume. And then for the minor level of resistance that we could see, I do see one right here, which extends a little bit more than I'd ideally like. But I think what we're going to do is just leave one right there. So we got two zones, not as ideal as the other ones, but still a potential opportunity if BTC does present itself in a way that is a bullish opportunity for us to enter. So not too much more on TRX. Dash, not really. That trend line that we were drawing again, we just basically absolutely dumped with no pullback whatsoever, absolutely no hesitation. I wouldn't have entered that push to the downside. I'm not an instant breakout trader. I like to see pullback. I like to see validation. And that's not just something I would enter if I'm just seeing massive sell volume and it's just dropping. You know, by the time I look at it, it's probably down here. And that's not a good situation to be in for risk reward, because you know that there's going to be a demand zone right here. So not something I would have entered. Looks all right. It's either in very, very tight accumulation or distribution. I really hope it's an accumulation, but we do see it's very, very tight within the market. We do see lots of buy volume come in, so it does indicate that is more volume accumulation. We also have a nice zone. Dash actually also looks pretty good on the 15-minute chart if you actually draw it. Actually looks very, very well respected on the 15-minute chart. I might actually use Dash as one of my potential entries here because it's respecting the descending zone very, very well. We do have a pretty wide range there, so I will incorporate that entire area. But, oops, didn't want that. Overall, it looks pretty good. I'm just going to delete this as well because we don't really need that zone. And then we got our major structural high, which will probably be the first level take profit if we do start to break out. But actually, we can also incorporate this zone here as well. So this is kind of the price action that we're going to look to enter. This is our first resistance, and this is our potential take profit that we could hit. For the first one, maybe second one with somewhere around here. That's a little bit better of a risk reward, but at this current point in time, Dash doesn't look bad. I'll put it kind of higher on the list. BNB is definitely lower. TRX is definitely lower. EOS is lower than TRX. Dash, Ethereum is my short, so I'll kind of put it in the middle. XRP, Dash, and Link are my potential longs, and Ethereum is my potential short. And also, we forgot to incorporate this trend line here that we had. I'll make that green. And that's a pretty important zone as well. We see a lot of type C, which isn't as significant, but we see a type B right there, and then a type A and a type B. So it's a pretty well respected zone. I will incorporate a projection on it so we understand it's a zone and it's not, oops, I swear that happens to me like at least 50 times a day. There we go. And then we'll make this a little less white because I don't love that. There we go. So that's currently our support, kind of the same thing, except this is a short. If we do get a break to the downside, we won't be looking to take a long if it breaks our current level of resistance, but we do have a nice resistance there. If we are able to hold the resistance and push down, then we have a nice zone of confluence where you have a resistance, a previous support, and a horizontal zone of supply, all in one single place. So that's a really, really high probability situation to enter for a short. But I'll just put that there while looking on the hour chart, just spectating on what is happening. So to wrap it up on this one, we're looking to potentially enter long if BTC confirms on Link, XRP, and Dash. And Ethereum is a potential short if the market presents itself as a short opportunity. But it looks pretty good right now. Not really... I'll just put my my trade plan together here on XRP, just so we all know what we're doing. So that, I think that's going to be my first take profit with a pretty good risk reward on our hands. We want to break, pull back, previous low, 2.3-ish for a first level take profit. That's not bad. And I'll probably put it just at the candle open before the massive dump right there. And then we'll be looking for another take profit probably right there, 4.3. That's great to see. So we got a previous level of resistance, new level of support, new level of resistance. Yep, pretty good zone. I'm happy with that area right around there. 4. And then we got our potentially our final area at the highs here. I don't exactly know if we'll be able to hit it, but we'll see. With a 6 risk reward, averaging around 4. So not going to enter just yet, but that's a potential opportunity for a trade plan for XRP if the market does present itself. Ethereum is more of a short, but we still got a little bit of... we still need some things to happen before we look to enter short, but that could be the potential first level of take profit, kind of at that level of support right there. We're not really going to get too into it. We got to see a couple things. We got to push down, hold, and then pull back, and then we'll look to enter. So there's a few things that need to occur. If we push down and hold for our lower low, then we'll kind of discuss Ethereum more and what we're going to look. But for now, that's just the trade plan, and we already talked about Link. So Dash is the last one that we'll go over. We got a nice descending zone. So this is a good potential opportunity because it's holding as a nice level of resistance on the 15 and on the hour chart. So we can see if we do break to the upside again, that could be a nice... right shoulder for the reverse head and shoulders to make a move to the upside, and then that's where we'll be looking to potentially take our profits. So I guess, oh, it's right there, but it didn't show up. So I don't exactly know how far or how long the pullback will be exactly, so we'll just set that there for now. And looking at the first levels of take profit, depending on how the risk is, that could be the potential level of take profit, because it could be a risk reward of like 2.2 or 2.3 to 1, which is pretty good for a first level of TP. And then we'll look to probably take profit at our next major zone. Might be here actually, because we're not going to be risking a tremendous amount. I think that makes sense for the next level of take profit. and then we'll probably look for the next level of take profit to probably be here. And then if the market does present itself, we could see it come all the way back kind of to the highs there. But for now, we'll just see what the market does. We're not going to enter just yet, but we'll see how it goes. Because right now, that could be a nice low at the double top there, looking the first bottom, the high, the mid-range resistance zone, and then the second bottom. Could be looking at something really good here, but obviously we don't want to enter prematurely, and we really want to make sure that we are getting the best possible entries we can. So, what stock is this? This is Dash compared with US Tether. Just looking at the previous little comments here. Engel, yes, you can buy unlimited times, sell unlimited times. You don't need a 25k account. There's no such thing as a pattern day trader rule or whatever. BTC is going to dump. I don't exactly know if that is true. What's the name of the software? TradingView, yep. And then the next couple of videos here. All right, so now that we've done that, we have our short opportunity, we have our long opportunities, so we are set whichever way the market does because we're in a very, very tight, aggressive consolidation with a lot of volatility. So I think we are going to kind of bounce in a pretty significant move. And we already have a potential outlook we have for BTC looking at what we've seen in the past with a move up, a double top, breaking the 10K zone, consolidating, making lower lows and lower highs, holding that nice structural support. And if we're able to kind of break that descending zone and start forming those higher highs and higher lows again, that's looking great. If we do break the support there, then we'll obviously be looking to short. So we'll just play both sides of the market. That's what I like about long short opportunities. You don't really need to make a bias. You just trade what's given to you. You look for different opportunities within the market, and then you act on those opportunities. I don't think I'm going to go too in-depth with other alts. If you're a Performante Premium member and you'd like to have another alt shown or have an analysis taken a look at, then 100% we'll be able to help you out with that. But in terms of, for me personally, I don't really see any other major opportunities that I can find right now that would present me with something that's better than what I've already shown for the Link, XRP, Dash, and Ethereum trades. Just looking at the different markets and the different alts here, because we are at the low on a lot of them, and a lot of them are showing similar price action patterns. Like look at Zcash, it's forming those lower highs, so then we can also create a nice little descending trend line there. So, you know, a lot of these structures are forming similar patterns, and we got nice previous resistance, new support, so it's looking pretty good. But obviously you don't want to expose yourself too much in the markets. You don't want to enter like 7 alts unless you're, you know, managing your risk and you know exactly how much risk you have against a total portfolio. I really tried not to go more than like 4 or 5. Obviously, if you're risking 0.5% on each one, then the max risk is 4, which isn't so bad. But you wouldn't want to be risking 2% on each one, because let's say you risk 2% on each one, and you know, you're taking 2 trades or even 4 trades. That's a significant amount of capital away from your the initial portfolio that you don't really need to be needing to let go of. Cardano looks all right. I'm not really. We got a nice little trend line right here that connects the lows there. So we got 2 trend lines. Oh, we got 2 trend lines, but I'm personally not loving this consolidation because it's just sideways. There's no real descending zone. So I will incorporate this projection into it. So we have 2 projection zones, which is not a problem, but we're not really looking at Cardano at this very moment. I think I'll be able to get a better opportunity and a better edge elsewhere within the market. ETC, like we've already talked about, I'm not loving the price action of ETC. So ZEC's kind of a opportunity. ADA's somewhat, Atoms not really, but we'll just throw it higher in the mix because it is showing a lot of buy volume, and we do have the lower highs connected very, very well there. Stellar not loving, ETC not loving, Litecoin not loving. So on On to the last one. I'm just looking at what's happening here within the markets quickly, checking the 15-minute chart, seeing what's happening. Nothing much right now. XRP is, let's see, on the 15-minute chart, nothing really happening right now. It looks like it could potentially break. But remember, we're looking for the structural high. We're not just looking for the descending trend line to break. We're looking for the structural high, and then we're looking to enter on the structural higher low. Same with Dash. So basically, we're just kind of scoping out, not really seeing anything right now, but we have a few options here if the market does present itself in a way that looks like we have some opportunity. Looking at potential comments before we move on to the next pair real quick. What broker do you use to trade crypto? So we use Binance. You can also, it depends what country you live in. If you live in the United States, you won't be able to use the exchange I use, but you can use Binance US. We won't be trading on the exact same exchanges. I will have much more liquidity than you will, but it kind of works in the same way, and it's not a bad platform. You can also use a VPN to use Bybit, which is a derivatives exchange, or what you call options. You are trading perpetual contracts within Bybit, and you can leverage from 1 to 100 times. So if you're looking for high leverage, high stakes sort of trading, derivatives is your go-to, like if you're used to trading options, or if you're trading more in a slower swing trading type space or in a Forex type space, then Binance major pairs, I think, is a better option. So it kind of depends what you're looking for, but yeah, we use Binance for our trading, and we sometimes use Bybit, but I personally like Bybit. Some other team members within the Performante team does use Bybit mainly. So that's overall the questions, and then we'll go on to NEO. NEO is looking pretty similar as a lot of the other charts. Looking at the 4-hour, we do see it's at a pretty nice level of support. Looking back, time frame to October of 2019, very, very major key structural double top we had within the major double bottom. We can see it's a very, very significant double bottom, and this is a double bottom within the major double bottom, and we just broke the mid-range zone. We've pulled back, we've retested, we've validated this zone as a nice new support, and now we're looking for a potential move towards the upside. So we see a nice key level of support right here. That's what we're having the price hold above, squeezing it. Looking on the 15-minute chart, we see that there's a nice key descending zone connecting the lower highs, squeezing the price closer to the apex of the pattern. So NEO is definitely the top of the list. It's also a potential opportunity for us to enter. So just looking at the quick trade plan that we could have, it's very similar to a lot of our different alts that we are currently trading. Looking at the near-term price action, we're looking for key levels of support and resistance within the price action pattern, and we see one right here. We're looking for a break above the zone. A potential lower high will be at the previous resistance, new level of support, ideally, and then we are looking to put the stop loss below the previous low, and then the first level take profit might be just right here with a first level of take profit of around 2.5 to 1. And then next level of take profit definitely will be up here. Let's just put it right there. So that's the overall trade, and then we'll see if it's able to go higher, but that's the major take profits right there with a pretty solid risk reward in the plan. So that's the overall trade plan for NEO. And then Matic, we do have a little bit of time. I'm waiting for the price to break above this descending zone that we have. It's a little bit longer of a time frame, but I don't really see anything here. We do have some nice support zones, but I want to see the price break this descending zone before I do anything for Matic. And then VET, we don't really see a descending zone. There's no real squeeze. We do see a nice horizontal zone that's well respected, where we're currently holding above right now, and we do have a nice resistance zone. But I guess if you look on the 15-minute, you will see lower highs a little bit, but we already have enough patterns that we have a lot of options, and we don't really need to be looking for a tremendous amount of options. And you might as well trade a more liquid pair if you see different. If you see the same pattern in different pairs, it just makes sense to trade the more liquid asset. So ONT is the same. We're not really looking to long this. We're at the bottom of a double bottom, but let's just look at what it's happening. Similar structure, seeing the price slowly fade, making those lower lows, lower highs. And then we could see a nice market structure shift. So this is also a potential for us. So we got a lot of potential here for different alts within the market. And and we might look at some shorts as well, just in case if the market does dump, then we have some shorts. But with a lot of these market plays, what we're going to do is basically use our descending zone to our advantage. So we see that we have a nice descending zone connecting the lower highs. We see that all right here. And we see we also have a horizontal zone. This is currently our level of support. So right now, the price is holding the price above it. I know that we've dropped below it, but as of right now, because we're on the 15-minute chart, we're not on the 4-hour, we're not on the major time frames, I still want to see the price kind of make a lower low a little bit more significant, hold on the 1 hour, hold on the 4 hour, and then we're looking for the price to make a pullback because the market moves in waves. You're looking to enter at the completion of the exhaustion wave, at the beginning of the impulse wave, and that's what you're looking to enter around here. So in every major push breaking a zone, that is a major impulse wave, which is this is an impulse wave, right? So if we look right here, from here to here was an impulse wave, it was a correction, and then it made an impulse wave, and then it's making a correction, and it's making an impulse wave. So theoretically, you could say that's kind of the low, but I'm looking for that lower low to come in a little bit more than what we see here, because right now, it's just wicks mainly. We're not really seeing the candle closures. There's a lot of wicks occurring. So for me, that's not really signifying that there's a lot of sell pressure. I'd like to see the candle actually really close above the zone. So we're seeing a lot of mini waves as well. So I'd like to see a mini wave here, and then potentially a wave up here, previous level of support, new level of resistance, and confluence with our key level of horizontal level of supply. So a lot of things going on, but that's also a potential opportunity for ONT. But that's kind of how I'm going to play a lot of different alts if we do see the market start to turn bearish. So we got a couple options here, which is nice. RVN I'm really going to look at because not really interested in that, and Tesla we're not really going to talk about. So that's the overall structure of the crypto market. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be mainly looking at, to go over, Link, XRP Dash, Ethereum, and Neo. Zek a little bit, but not really. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to take a quick peek at the potential comments we have. We don't really have any more new comments, so that's basically it for the crypto market update. We hope you enjoyed this, or I guess today's, because we do it every single day. We got some opportunity within the market, but like always, we do want to make sure that we're staying patient and we are not jumping into anything too quickly. We want to ensure that we have the highest probability situation that we can find before we look to enter. TRX is also a possibility here on the 1 hour, but not right now. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave a comment within the YouTube video, or just comment within like one of our videos on TikTok or whatever, or find our Instagram and then DM us. So there's many different ways of getting in touch with us. And I'm going to open it up to any questions before I close this TikTok here, but I will close this crypto market update right now. So thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time, happy trading.